Morning. Welcome to the daily devotional. Today we are looking at 2 Kings chapter 2 verses 13 to 14, and it is entitled The Mantle of Elijah. Down it came, down from on high, down to the ground to lie in a heap at the feet of Elisha, Elijah's colleague, servant and friend. Elisha picked it up. It was the seal of a new covenant between him and the ascended master in heaven. He had prayed for a double portion of his master's spirit. "Keep your eye on me then," said Elijah. That is what Elisha had done. Now he had the mantle of the man in glory. Elisha saw something that very few people see. He saw a living man caught up in the clouds. There had come a mighty rushing wind, such as that which came at Pentecost. There had come horses and a chariot of fire. Heaven had touched earth for an instant. There at Jordan, the river of death, the master was gone. All that remained was a mantle, still warm from the touch of a living man, now caught up into heaven. The crack in the space-time dimension closed, and Elisha stood there all alone. How long Elisha stood gazing into heaven, we just don't know. But presently he brought his gaze back down to earth, and there it was, a mantle, the seal of the new covenant, the earnest of his inheritance. It was now his. And with it came the double portion he had desired. That mantle marked him out as a firstborn son. He picked it up, and the spirit of the master in heaven clothed the body of the disciple on earth. He could walk worthy of his Lord. He would be faithful in every good work. He would increase in knowledge of God. But let us come back to this mantle. The mantle of Elijah is mentioned 4 times. The first time, it is associated with the paradox of the man of God. 1 Kings 19 verse 13. For Elijah, the mighty man of God, had feet of clay. He was subject to passions just like we are. We find him on Horeb, the mount of God, far from where he belonged. God ministered gently to him. He revealed himself in the fury of the wind, and in the forces of the earthquake, and in the fierceness of the fire. Elijah hid in the cave as all nature rumbled, roared, and rolled about him. Then came the still, small voice. Elijah ventured out, his face wrapped in his mantle, and self-pitying still. We see the man who could call down fire, sulking like a schoolboy. Alas, there would be no Carmels after this. The paradox remains. The greatest man on earth was overcome by passions such as overthrow the weakest of people. God, most assuredly, does not whitewash the heroes of faith. The second time that the mantle is mentioned, it shows us the personality of the man of God. 1 Kings chapter 19 verse 19. There goes Elisha following his plough. Here comes Elijah, mantle in hand. The prophet throws the mantle over the ploughman, and so great is the power and charisma of Elijah that the successful businessman gives up all to follow him. Of course, there wasn't a man, woman, boy, or girl, from the king on his throne to anyone on the city streets, who had not heard of Elijah or been touched by the force of his personality. The next time we see the mantle, it reminds us of the power of a man of God. 2 Kings chapter 2 verse 8. One flick of that mantle over Jordan's wave, and the waters fled. There was more power in the hem of that garment than in all the robes of King Ahab's house. We see that mantle one more time, and it reminds us of the pilgrimage of the man of God. For when his earthly pathway had ended, Elijah stepped into a whirlwind and was gone. He would need the mantle no more. He passed it on to his heir, the new young prophet wore that mantle with all the authority of the one to whom it had formerly belonged. And you know, the Lord expects the same of us. We are Christ's heirs to the Holy Spirit. We wear the Lord's mantle of power. The pilgrim church moves on through time, the mantle of the Spirit of God being the guarantee that God's will be done, even as it is in heaven. Have a great Sunday, everybody. I hope it's a relaxed one and one that really helps you to draw closer in your walk to Jesus. See you tomorrow if you can join me for another devotional.